Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. My name is Leon Jones. Again, and I apologize to my audience out there. I was supposed to do a live stream, but I decided to do a pre recorded video. I'm taking some courses in school right now, so I am busy, but I will go back to doing live streams as soon as my schedule subsides. But all the information on my live streams and pre recorded videos, everything that I'm going to do, I usually put it up the previous night or 4 hours before my live streams are supposed to start. So you'll get a heads up on what's going on. Now, today, I want to talk about something that we don't get into too much, and it's men's health. And why does good health matter for men? Well, I'm going to give you my answer. Good health matters if you want to live a longer. A number of men, particularly when they get 40 and older, they end up taking Viagra. They have low testosterone. Now, why is all that happening? Well, first of all, a man must look at his belly. There are a number of men walking around. I go to work with guys who have sat in office all their lives. They don't get up, do any exercises. They're eating a lot of junk. And some of the men I work with are younger than I am, and they have guts. Now, if you cannot see your penis, at least the head of your penis, as a man, when you look down, and I'm talking about when it's not erect, you got too big of a stomach. Now, why is your stomach large? Number one, you're eating a lot of carbohydrates, you're drinking a lot of alcohol, you're smoking, you're probably living in some stressful situations. Your lifestyles are just all off. You see, I know when many people talk about health, it's always about diet and exercise. Well, that's part of it. But you have to have diet, exercise, proper sleep, and you have to live a proper lifestyle. And that means alleviating stress. And part of alleviating that stress is you have to get rid of people in your lives who aren't making it better for you. And that includes family members, so called friends, and even leaving jobs for other jobs. You see, right now, a number of us are living in stressful times. Gas prices are high, grocery prices are high, rents are high. Every time you turn around, something is bad news. Now, you can make it in this life even though times are bad. What you have to do is change your lifestyle. Now, changing your lifestyle can be a little difficult because if you're immune to something, you want to stay with it. But whatever you're immune to might not be good for you. And also, men, got to work on your hygiene and you got to work on your grooming as well. Now, I'm saying this because here, particularly in the black part of YouTube, a number of men talk about women and how overweight they are. You got a lot of overweight men out there too. Now, of course, I'm going across all races. And When I go out to work, I see a number of men walking with canes. Their mouths don't look good. Some of them are losing their hair early. Of course, balding is also hereditary, but part of living a good lifestyle is to keep yourself up health wise and hygienic wise. Now, there are a number of people out there who don't wash themselves up. But as men, we can't talk about women until we look at ourselves. Now, I'm 57 years old, and one thing that I enjoy doing is exercising. And do I eat junky foods? I do. Not all the time. But see, with my lifestyle, I make sure I get enough exercise in to counteract that, burn off the calories, keep your skin clean. Get checked out. See, this is what men have to understand. If you go to the doctor and you hear some bad news, might not be a bad thing if you catch it in time. Now, there are a few things I have to do that I haven't done, but I make sure I get my sugar checked, my blood pressure checked, keep my A1C down below 7, should be below 6. You got to work with your weight, man. Get your waist down to right around 40, and you want to keep your body fat under 40. Generally, I know if you go get a CDL where I worked at NDOT, if your waist was or your body fat was 40%. You want to keep your body fat below 40%. 25 is reasonable depending on how old you are. But if your waist or your body fat, because you get your BMI from your neck, your stomach, and your waist, that's over 40% body fat. I know when I worked for NDOT and you were going for a CDL, you're going to have to wear a CPAP machine. And there are some men who are wearing CPAP machines. Now, when you have to wear a CPAP machine to help you breathe, that's really bad news. And when you are taking a lot of medicines, that's bad news. See, one of the ways you can always keep your doctor bills down is you have to start off by taking care of yourself when you're young. Many of us don't look into the future because we are living in the now. But one must understand that we will get older and we start to deteriorate. Hormones start to change. Again, many men don't think about that. Again, we're always criticizing women. Of course, women use most of the resources, but they do go to the doctor much more. Now, again, there are a number of women out there I've also seen walking with bad posture. And when you have bad posture, you could have scoliosis, you can have all kinds of problems. But as a man, you got to watch out for the prostate cancer. You got to watch out for the stress, especially black men. I mean, we die earlier on average than most. And if you don't believe me, I'll turn you to James Brown, Barry White, Rick James. Look at all the Temptations. Some of the R&B singers, Levert, one member of the Sugar Hill Gang passed away. Old Dirty Bastard. Now, I'm not talking about rappers who shoot each other up. I'm talking about ones who have died via overdose or some other health effect. Again, look at Barry White. And a number of these R&B singers who passed away, with the exception of James Brown, didn't even hit 60 years old. And I can tell you, Barry White, he had a lot of problems with his health, a lot of diabetes. Luther Vandross, he had strokes. Now, I know many of us were talking about the Rona. Well, one sure way to get the Rona is to come in with bad health. So, one item that men need to do, one bit of advice: get proper sleep, a good 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Also, go to the doctor once a month. Also, get your teeth clean. Now, there are a number of men out there that I've seen with bad teeth. Now, do you know why they have bad teeth? I know I work out there with a lot of white guys out there, and I'm gonna tell you why their teeth is bad, because many of them are dipping snuff. Snuff will give you that lip cancer. Snuff also deteriorates your teeth. A lot of cigarette smoking. Uh, you think vaping is good for you? No, vaping is not good for you either. It's not cool. And so when you start destroying your body when you're younger, it's going to affect you when you get a little older. And you're going to end up regretting what you do when you get a little older by what happened to you when you were younger. See, when you're young, you don't care about anything. But when you get a little older, it's when the problems start. And that's when the costs add up. And one place that you don't want to be as a man is in the hospital. Not a comfortable place. And I noticed when my Aunt Lisa, she passed away at 61 years old. She was up in Chicago. When I went to see her, she was on oxygen. And there were some other individuals up there. They weren't walking right, they weren't speaking. And I said, I don't want to be like that. I want to maintain some good health. Now, of course, when you get into my age bracket, I'm 57, more complications can happen. Now, nobody is perfect. Now, and shout out to Brother Teapot there. He had shown a video with even young kids overweight. It's a girl that was 12 years old, overweight. And during that video, the mother was overweight. So you have to ask, well, what was the mother feeding the children? Well, they get up in the morning and eat a bag of chips, honey buns. Now, depending on what brand of honey bun it is, some of those honey buns carry between 500 and 700 calories. Now, it is a recommended daily allowance that you need 2,000 calories. And then you have salt. And let me tell you what has a lot of salt in it. Because I was going to buy them one time. Those ramen noodles, particularly the cup of noodles. The cup of noodles have around 1,000 milligrams of salt. Now, it's recommended that you have between 23 and 2,500 milligrams of salt. You got to watch your salt intake as well, because your high blood pressure will spike up. Now, many of us probably don't care about what I'm doing in this video, but I guarantee you have a loved one who's a man, of course, who's a woman, who's sitting in the hospital because they didn't do a good job with taking care of their lives. Now, what I'm telling you is we talk about the diet and exercise, the sleep. They're all components, and they're all components of lifestyle. So what do you have to do to change your lifestyle? Well, number one, don't take a lot of diet supplements either. Some of those aren't good for you. They can wreck your kidneys. Well, I'm going to say this, too much of anything can kill you. So when it comes to food, you can eat in moderation, but you got to know your portions. You got to push away from the table if there are a lot of goodies there. And during this time, and this is the perfect time to preach this message because some of us are going to be eating turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and stuffing. And then after we finish, I guarantee you're not going to get up and do anything. See, one thing I always do after I eat, I stretch. I want to keep my heart pumping. I keep my heart pumping because, see, that allows your food to digest faster. And so you want to create a metabolism, a fast metabolism. Now, there are days I don't want to exercise, but I know the benefits of good exercise. I know the days of good grooming. No cleaning my teeth every day. All that is something that we need to do as men. And as men, we need to be mindful of our health. Yeah, again, we can crack on women about their health, and the ones who don't care, this body positivity, that's just another cover up because they don't want to go out and do anything with their lives. That's why they have this phony body positivity to cover up. They're lazy. They're eating Popeyes and Kentucky Fried Chicken and Church's Chicken. They don't want to do anything. Now, again, it's not necessarily your weight, it's how you carry your weight. Remember, it's not necessarily your weight, it's how you carry your weight. You have the hourglass figure as a woman, you're okay. But if you look like a roly-poly, you're not. And there are a number of men who look like Humpty Dumpty. The only thing that hasn't happened to a number of these men, they're not sitting on that wall and they're not falling over until they start walking. Some of them look like they're falling over and they're out of breath. Some of them cannot walk up the stairs. Now, the question is, what happens if you don't have a gym? Well, you don't need a gym. If you're in a building, just go up the stairs. In fact, when I was working at DNR in Indianapolis, I only used the elevator in 3 years, maybe 6 times. I went up the stairs. When I graduated from Temple University, I was in a school of engineering on 12th Street in Philadelphia. Certainly, now then it was tiring because I had to walk up 7 flights of stairs. When I worked for the Army Corps of Engineers, I challenged myself. Now, I only did it 1 time. Well, to get from the bottom to the top, because we were doing a reservoir, I walked up 53 flights of stairs. Now, don't get me wrong, I had to take a pause for the cause. That was hard. Now, I wasn't in the shape I am now, but even now, I wouldn't walk up 53 flights of stairs. When you do exercise, you have to rest for a little bit. You have to do reps. But you have to establish a program that's going to be good enough for you and stick to it. I mean, if you think about it, as brothers, you didn't put that weight on overnight. You're not going to get it off overnight. And drinking water, that should also be part of it as well. And if you don't like drinking water, drink tea. Now, I'm not saying cut all sugar out of your diet because you need glucose. Believe it or not, if you exercise, you can turn that sugar into energy. But what I suggest you do too, if you go grocery shopping, read the labels. Look how many calories are in that portion of food that you're buying. Now, a word to the wise is sufficient with labels. Some people don't know how to read the labels correctly. Let's say you go and buy some donuts. You may, and the idiots will look at, oh, well, I can eat some donuts. These donuts got 280 calories in it. No, you got to read it closely. 4 donuts. Like if you buy a dozen donuts, 4 donuts have 280 calories. If you eat 12 donuts, now you're at 840 calories. The label is going to tell you what serving makes the specific calories. Now, normally in a honey bun, like I said, if it's the big ice honey bun, it's got 700 calories in there. If it's the glazed one, it's got around 500. It's because of the sugar. Now, again, you have to look at the stress as well, because you can do everything right and still have issues. Stress is a big problem. Many of us are worry warts out there, especially if you're working. We're always wondering, how are we going to make it from one day to the next? Well, if you want to eliminate stress, none of us are perfect. Make proper decisions on how we conduct our lives and who we have in our lives. And again, you're going to have to get rid of some people in your life, whether they're your friends, whether your family. Distractions are going to put more and more stress on you. Now, something else, the drugs and alcohol. Number of smokers out there. You're dipping snuff, you're vaping. If you have to smoke to keep stress down, well, you might keep stress down temporarily, but what you're really going to do is take years off of your life because you may develop lung cancer. I'm going to share something with you, and I'm going to Men's Health every day. So, Men's Health every day. What do you want to know about men's health? Now, an overview. And I just mentioned it. Men are notorious for avoiding the doctor and ignoring unusual symptoms. This may help explain why women live longer. And again, I will say this to men, don't let complacency take a toll on your health. Schedule yearly checkups with your diet and don't cancel them. Keep your appointments. Your doctor can help you monitor your weight, your blood pressure, and the level of cholesterol in your blood. Now, you want to have good cholesterol, not the bad cholesterol. Now, remember this, excess weight, high blood pressure, and high blood cholesterol are risk factors for cardiovascular disease. Now, if you don't know what cardiovascular disease is, that's heart disease, which can lead to a heart attack. And again, greasy foods are big for clogging your arteries. Now, if you have a doctor, your doctor is going to recommend lifestyle changes, medications, or other treatments to help get your weight and blood pressure and cholesterol under control. Now, again, just don't depend on the doctor. You have to want to choose a better lifestyle than we're currently at. Now, again, you can bring your blood pressure down. You can bring your weight down. Now, something that I take Bragg's apple cider vinegar twice a day. That can help bring your sugar down. And if you drink water, you urinate out the salt and sugar, and you exercise, that can also keep your blood pressure. And you don't eat foods with high cholesterol either. That will help keep those 3 symptoms under control. Now, foods are very important. Most of us think we're getting natural foods, but we're not. We're getting processed foods. So you remember something about packaged and processed foods. They're basically full of artificial additives, fats that are unhealthy, and they're full of sugar, and they have high calories. So what you have to do, and it's very hard because when it comes to food, it's basically genetically engineered. So you have to limit the amount of fake stuff that you are eating. Now, things that you can eat that are natural. Always eat fresh fruits and vegetables. Eat whole grain products such as whole grain breads, brown rice. You can even eat granola or a snack. Eat nuts. Fiber rich foods such as leafy greens. I like eating collard greens and kale. They're leafy greens. You can eat spring greens like raw spinach, beans, lima beans, legumes like peas, black eyed peas. And see, here's another thing. If you cook at home, you don't have to worry about the additives that are going in your food. Why? Because you control what you're putting in your food. You have many people who like to go out. And most people, they want to go out and enjoy a good time. That's good, but they don't know what's in their food. And when it comes to meat, you want meat to be lean. You want to eat poultry. If you eat chicken, eat skinless chicken breast, lean ground beef. I prefer turkey. Turkey is much leaner than beef. Turkey is much easier to digest than beef. And if you're going to eat fish, one of my favorite fish I eat, I love salmon. So when you're buying groceries, shop the perimeter of the store. Again, sometimes they put all the bad stuff right in the middle of the store. But if you know where your meats are, they're always on the perimeter of the store. And why do I say that? If you go in a store like a Kroger, you walk around, you're going to always find your produce, you're going to find your meats. But now, if you go into the center of the store, guess what you're going to find? That's where you're going to find all your candy, all your cookies, all your chips. You think about that. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't think about that at all. The perimeter store has all your dairy, your meats, your produce, has everything that you need that's good for you. But then when you go into the center of the store, that's when you have all your flour, your sugar. Now, of course, beware of the canned vegetables too, because there are a lot of additives in those. Now, if you get some canned peas, canned corn, just drain out all of the juice. You're not going to get it all out because they put it in there to try to preserve it. But again, just so you'll know, you go into your store, always shop the perimeter. Now, what do I mean by the perimeter? Go around the store. That's what the perimeter is. Go around the store, not in the middle. Go around. Also, they have the aisles with the junk food stocked up for specific reasons. You know, when you go and hit the aisles, you look at the foods. Well, a lot of people spend time in the aisles. Again, that's where all your processed foods tend to be located. Don't spend a lot of time in the aisles. And also, when you go grocery shopping, don't go grocery shopping hungry. Go when you're not hungry. You tend to spend less. Now, something else that men need to do, and I'm talking about men and only men, because again, some men are talking about women when they don't look at themselves. And you expect a woman to go out with you when you're out of shape, it's not going to happen. Or when you're not groomed or when you're not clean, no, that's not attractive. Because when you're not clean, you stink, you're funky. When you got a big gut hanging over, that's gross. And it's more gross on men because men don't have that shape like women. We have some women who have the hourglass shape who can hide it well. Men, we can't hide it well. We can't. Now, again, when it comes to heart disease, let's go back to heart disease. That's the leading cause of death amongst American men. So, regular exercise is one of the best ways to prevent heart disease, and it keeps you going strong, keeps your heart moving. It can also help you improve and maintain your overall physical and mental health. Now, what do I mean by mental health? I'm talking about your mind. When they talk about exercise, it's just not your body, it's your mind and body. So you need to try at least 150 minutes of moderate, intensely aerobic exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous aerobic exercise every week. Now, again, when they say 150, they're probably talking about, I'm going to say 7 days a week and about 150. So roughly 21 minutes, which is under a half an hour. That's if you do it 7 days. So, for example, 5 30-minute long sessions of aerobic exercise should be included in your weekly calendar. That means you have 2 days off. So, when we deal with aerobic exercises, we talk about jogging. Now, what if you don't have a treadmill, or what if you don't go jogging? Jog in place, you can burn up a lot of calories as well. Then there's swimming, basketball, tennis, and there are other sports. See, what men got to learn how to do is get themselves motivated as well. And I know some people who work in the office, because I've seen a lot of people working in the office, they don't get out and walk. They'll eat their lunch and they'll sit down. And that's something else you should not do. After you eat a meal, get up. Just walk around for 10 minutes. Let your food start to digest before you sit down. Because what's going to happen is the food's just going to lie there. And don't go to bed full because it's just going to lie there. You need to burn that food off because the more food you have sitting in you, the more calories you have. Now, what is a calorie, by the way? 3,500 calories equals 1 pound. So for you all who didn't take physics like I did, a calorie is a unit of heat. That's why if you are listening to me, I said burn off calories. Well, you're burning off calories because those calories are heat. So once you put fuel in your body, such as food, you burn it off. And again, that's what a calorie is. And the daily recommended allowance is 2,000 calories. Again, it is important to make time for at least 2 sessions of muscle strengthening exercises per week. And for example, if you have weights, you can do some weight training, rock climbing, and yoga. You want to build strong muscles as men. And here's something I'm always going to tell you about. Check your testosterone level. See, when you do exercise, you build up your testosterone level. And for you guys who want to really keep an erection going on, you want your blood to flow, well, do some stretches. If you get rid of that gut, you'll have more blood flowing down there to where you don't need Viagra. With aerobic exercises, you increase your stamina, and it doesn't cost anything. You see, you get that blue pill in the mail, that one blue pill, it's going to cost you a lot of money, and it might not work for you. And just like I said before, when it comes to your waist, you got to maintain a healthy waist. So again, your waist needs to be roughly 40 inches round. Now, if it's a little more, could be some cause for concern. Now, that's according to the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. Why? Because it raises your risk of obesity related diseases. For example, men who have large waist have a higher risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. And again, just like I presented in the first part of this video, women tend to live a little longer because they go to the doctor more. So for most men, the best way to shed belly fat is to cut calories from your diet and exercise more. And if you don't know what to do, go to the doctor, ask your doctor for a weight loss plan that's safe and effective for you. Because remember something, a lot of us watch all these shows, and even on YouTube, you see these men with these bodies, muscles bulging. Some of them probably took steroids too. Wouldn't take those either. Those are hormone enhancers. Don't take those either. You have people like Ken Caminiti, Lyle Alzado, and these were athletes. They died from those. So don't use anything that's manufactured to get you building bulk faster. And something else that I'm against, there are a number of people who have done it. Now, 30 years ago, I didn't see it. You have men and women getting bariatric surgery, reducing their stomach. What happens, there have been individuals who've gotten that, they've died, and then they don't look like themselves because remember, when you do that stomach surgery, you lose some of the nutrients. That's why you're constantly taking vitamins. Not always good for you. What I'm telling you to do is be natural about how you take care of yourself. You got too much instant gratification going on, and individuals think they're going to look like these Hollywood stars. No, when you're working in the real world, your money isn't like Hollywood. So the food that we eat is going to be a lot worse because a lot of us eat poor food because that's all we can afford. However, change your lifestyle, you raise your metabolism as a man, you don't have to worry about what food you eat, and you have to keep on schedule. Just like we have bad habits, make taking care of yourself a good habit, like you do that bad habit. You can go out and go get you some alcohol and some beer with your bad habits. No offense to you. Shout out to you, Reg, the bad guy. I'm not a beer drinker, but I do know beer has calories in it. And some of you guys out there who are dipping tobacco and vaping and smoking, going to cause you to take years off your life. And I don't care what anybody says, beer, alcohol, have a lot of hops, and there's sugar in that beer. That's what puts calories on your stomach. Why you have guys walking around with beer guts now. Because when we eat as men, our food goes right to our belly. Now, some people might call you a teddy bear. Some people like that teddy bear. If you have a little one, I can understand. But if you have one to where you are not getting any oxygen, especially in the summertime, you're going to keel over and become a fatality. So, you're having problems, guys. Consult the doctor. Now, also get your vitamins. Most people can get the vitamins and minerals needed for optimum health by eating, of course, a well-balanced diet. Now, when I say vitamins, some of you might have thought I was mentioning going to GNC, getting a lot of vitamins. You can get vitamins. Those are vitamin supplements. But vitamins are in the foods we eat. Vitamin A, B, C, D, E, and K. Now, it's important to eat a variety of vitamin and mineral-rich foods such as fresh vegetables and whole grains. Those are natural vitamins. Why? Because many of those foods also provide healthy heart fiber or heart healthy fiber and natural antioxidant compounds that can help you lower your risk of certain diseases. And some people may also benefit from taking a daily multivitamin or other supplements. Again, that's when you can go in GNC and get multivitamins. They also help too. They can raise your metabolism. They can lower your blood pressure. They help, but you take those vitamins in moderation as well. Again, people can benefit from multivitamins and substances, but eat fresh fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Now, when it comes to your doctor may encourage you to supplement your diet with fish oil capsules. And those fish oil capsules contain what we known as an omega-3 fatty acid and, of course, vitamin D3. Now, vitamin D is in milk and it helps give you strong bones and strong teeth. So, if you don't know anything about these vitamins, ask your doctor about the potential benefits and risks of adding a multivitamin to other supplements to your daily routine. I repeat again, you don't know anything about vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin B, go to your doctor. Ask them about the potential benefits and risks of adding a multivitamin or other supplements to your daily routine. Now, something else that we must do as well as men, and I just mentioned it a few minutes ago, get healthy habits, break unhealthy habits. Again, a healthy habit would be eating better, doing more exercises. But you know what? Most of us find it easy to break unhealthy habits, not to break unhealthy habits. But we don't do anything that is something healthy. Why? It takes a little bit more work. See, looking good, looking your best takes a lot of work. Individuals don't want to do the work. But did you do work to get yourself in a position that you shouldn't be in? Yes, you did. That took work, took time. So it's going to take time to break those unhealthy habits. And one habit that individuals need to break is men smoking. Why do I say that? Because it's one of the worst things you can do for your health. Secondhand smoke is also very dangerous. Now, nearly 7,300 non smoking Americans die from lung cancer caused by secondhand smoke every year. Now, this is by the report from the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, again, the CDC said this, not me. So go look it up yourself. Now, smoking and secondhand smoke exposure can cause other health conditions such as we call it COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, emphysema, and of course, heart disease. Now, this is from smoking. They also raise the risk of developing many types of cancer. That's cigarette smoke or cigar smoke. Now, other health damaging behaviors include excessive alcohol consumption or recreational habitual drug use. So, if you consume alcohol, and alcohol, beer is alcohol, even if it has 5% in it, because if you drink beer every day, and even with 5% alcohol, you're putting 35% alcohol in your body. So now, I'm not telling you not to consume alcohol, but if you do it in moderation. For example, men should consume no more than 2 drinks per day or the equivalent of 24 ounces of beer, 10 ounces of wine, and 3 ounces of spirits. Now, if you use recreational drugs, it's time to stop. They're linked to too many health conditions. For example, cocaine. People didn't know this. It can cause heart attacks and strokes. Injected drugs of all sorts can lead to serious infection and skin breakdowns at injection sites. So again, you know what I mean by injected drugs? Some people shoot up heroin. People were shooting up coke, freebasing crack. Well, injected drugs of all sorts can lead to serious infections and skin breakdown at the injection sites. So, just going to tell you this. You don't have to listen to me. You go look at people who've been strung out on crack and cocaine. The amount of people who died from fentanyl. This is real out here. And if you don't want to end up in the street or dead, if you're on recreational drugs, it's time to stop. And if people around you are doing drugs, you don't want to be around those people because they're going to try to peer pressure you into being like them. Now, as I move on, some men also use, and I tell you about people working out, anabolic steroids to increase muscle mass. That can also lead to serious health consequences. Again, Lyle Alzado, Ken Caminiti. They're two athletes who died from using steroids. So, and with steroids, guess what? You can become sterile. Means what you got between your legs, not going to work effectively. Again, possible outcomes when you use steroids. Well, steroids can lead to serious health consequences, include being sterile, heart disease, skin disease, and something I always talk about during my psychology videos, behavioral problems. So, to sum this all up, I'm just going to say this. If you smoke, drink too much, or use illicit drugs, your doctor can help you develop a plan to quit. They may recommend medication therapy or other treatments or strategies. Now, it's up to you if the doctor does recommend a plan for you to stay with that plan because that doctor is trying to help you. You're not going to help yourself by not working with the plan. Again, you took work and you took time to get in a bad position. So now it's going to take some work to get back into a good position. And something else, said it earlier, protect your skin. Well, melanoma is a type of skin cancer. It is one of the deadliest skin cancers. Correction, it's one of the deadliest cancers. Again, melanoma. See a lot of commercials on for melanoma. It's a type of skin cancer. It's one of the deadliest cancers. So according to the AAD, the American Academy for Dermatology, men over the age of 50 are at the heightened risk of developing it. Your risk is also higher if you are Caucasian. Now that's funny because when it comes to diabetes, black men, the risk is much higher. But when it comes to melanoma, white men. So you see, and there are a number of white men who have melanoma, a number of black men who have diabetes, and guess what? They die early. Now, when we deal with melanoma, how do you get that? Well, used to be, now the white women used to do this, the yuppie white women, they used to go into those tanning spas, or they would sit out there without using SF-15, and they would get it from the sun. Well, basically, to lower your risk of melanoma, take steps to protect yourself from harmful UV. UV stands for ultraviolet radiation from the sun. So when you're outside, this is common sense. Get over to some shade. Spend time in the shade. If you're at the beach, put a towel over you. In other words, cover your body with something protective, a piece of clothing. Get yourself some sunscreen with sun protection factor. That's your SPF. Some say 15, some say 30 or higher. But you must put, and black people, yes, you can burn too because I have burned. Most people think we don't get sunburn. Yes, we do. And some of us are sitting out in the sun. Now, we don't go in a tanning booth because we can naturally tan from the UV rays from the sun, but it's bad all around. And if you are sweating or swimming, you must reapply the sunscreen every 2 hours or more frequently. Again, reapply sunscreen every 2 hours or more frequently if you are sweating or swimming. Why? Because the sweating and the swimming is going to basically take it off your body. So you have to keep reapplying it. And what you ought to do too is conduct a monthly skin check. That's right. A lot of us really don't check our skin. The skin is very important. But you need to look at your skin monthly to look for new and unusual moles, changes to existing moles, or other changes to the color or texture of your skin. Use a mirror to help check places you can't usually see, or visit a dermatologist about once a week or once a year. That's a correction, not once a week, once a year to get a full body skin check. Now, I know with white women, they age a lot faster, and some Latino women with the white pigmented skin, or some of you get those crow's feet around your lips. That's from smoking. Smoking and alcohol will age you. There are some individuals I've seen who are 35 and 40 years old. They look 60 and 70 years old. That's from smoking. This is also from allowing your skin to be exposed. And this is what I'm talking about. You think you're doing something right. You're trying to be Mr. or Miss Hollywood out there, and you're just basically hurting your own body. And remember, you only have one body. Take care of it. So again, if you see changes to existing moles, or you find new and unusual moles, or you see changes to the color or texture of your skin, get yourself a mirror to check places you can't usually see, and then you visit a dermatologist about once a year for a full body skin check. Now, something I got to do myself, get your prostate checked. After skin cancer, prostate cancer is the most cancer diagnosis amongst American men. Now, this is reports from the American Cancer Society. So, if you're having trouble urinating and you develop pain when you urinate and notice blood in your urine, it may be a sign of prostate problems. So, make an appointment with your doctor. They may encourage you to get blood tests or undergo a prostate exam to check for prostate cancer or other conditions. Again, when you noticing something different with your urine, such as bloody urine, or you're developing pain, it's a sign that you need to get your prostate checked. Now, something else, colon cancer. So, colorectal cancer. Well, that's the second leading cause of cancer deaths in the United States. Now, this is coming from the National Cancer Institute. So, it's important to begin screening for colorectal cancer starting around 50. Again, colon cancer is the second leading cause of death in the United States. Now, if you are over 50, now they're saying around 50. It used to be 50 and older. It's important for you to begin a colorectal cancer screening, and it starts around 50, maybe in your mid 40s. But your doctor can use a colonoscopy to check for cancerous growths in your colon, like polyps. Again, I just mentioned they will check for polyps, a type of non-cancerous growth. Now, certain types of polyps can develop into cancer at a later time. Ask your doctor how often you should have a colonoscopy conducted. So again, when it comes to men, some things that you need to get checked. And here are 9 things you need to get checked. So you don't need the statistics to tell you that men are more likely to avoid the doctor than women. women are, in fact, 100% more likely to see a doctor for examinations, screenings, and preventive health consults, even though they're less likely to die from the top 10 causes of death. So many men are lost for the years in between their pediatrician and when they have their first health scare in their 50s. Now, this is from Leslie uh, Shatcher. She's the director of the Mount Sinai Men's Health Program. So it shouldn't take a scare to get you to the doctor. Again, as I said before, preventive health checkups are associated with healthier men. These visits can lead to dangerous, these, these visits can also lead to dangerous cancers being caught early to save lives. Again, preventative health checkups. Get them. I remember I didn't go and I started going to the VA. And it has helped me a lot. I'm not afraid to go to the doctor. I had my first MRI, thought I had a kidney stone. Well, if you visit your doctor and there's something dangerous, there's a chance that it can be caught early to save your life. Now, here are the checkups that you should be making as men, and you can have more than one every year. Blood sugar check. Yes, checks for glucose levels are imperative for men, decrease their likelihood of significant cardiac disease. Now, diabetes, which is a chronic disease characterized by high blood sugars, greatly increases your risk of heart disease and other complications such as kidney damage and erectile dysfunction. That's known as ED, and that's due to nerve damage. Now, annual glucose testing serves are the best method of diagnosing diabetes before it gets too advanced. So many men with the beginnings of diabetes and or a diagnosis of diabetes can be managed appropriately with diet and exercise. If lifestyle management with diet and exercise is not sufficient, there are oral medicines and insulin that can be used. Number two, skin check. Men with a family of skin cancer or who've had significant sunburns when they were younger are at a high risk for skin cancer. Now, skin cancer can affect men of any age, so it's important to get yearly skin checks by a dermatologist. At home, men should keep a close eye on their moles and birthmarks, as slight changes can significantly concerning etiology, which is the consistent use of where the consistent use of sunscreen is paramount. Now, this is what the doctor said. Again, men, keep a close eye on your moles and birthmarks because slight changes can occur. And that is signifying concerning etiology. So consistent use of sunscreen is paramount. Now, what do I mean by paramount? Paramount is a synonym for important. Now, what about a PSA test? Well, 1 in 7 men will develop prostate cancer. Other than skin cancer, it is the most common form of cancer in American men. So, this dealing with prostate cancer, the PSA, which is the prostate specific antigen or PSA blood level test, along with DREs, that's a digital rectal exam, they're the best ways to detect prostate cancer. So all men 50 to the age of 70 should be checked on a yearly basis. Now, if a man has a family history of prostate cancer or unknown history, PSA testing should begin at the age of 50. Now, when doctors check for prostate cancer, it's not the same test you get as you would get for colorectal cancer. The doctor's just going to grease his finger and stick it right in the hole. Also, they're going to take a stool test. They'll see if you have cancer. That's the PSA test. See if you got blood on your stools too. You may get a stool test. And again, I'm telling you this because a lot of men, we too many of us talk about women, but women are living longer. Now, what I just told you, the first part, you should get those checked every year. That's your sugar, that's your skin, and PSA. Now, every 3 years, colonoscopy. Colonoscopy is a rite of passage for men, of course, and women over the age of 50, and that's when colon cancer risk increase. Now, other risk factors include a medical history of inflammatory bowel disease or a diet high in animal fat. Now, so if a man basically has no history of colon cancer, a screening colonoscopy should be done at the age of 50. And future colonoscopies are done every 3 to 10 years based on the results of each colonoscopy. Now, every 4 years, blood pressure and cholesterol check. Now, again, when it comes to strokes in men, what is the number one killer for men? High blood pressure. Again, high blood pressure is the number one cause of stroke in men, and it is very serious if left unmanaged. High cholesterol. Now, you have two types of cholesterol. You have your LDL and your HDL. I believe your HDL is your bad cholesterol and your LDL is your good cholesterol. If I'm wrong, put it in my comment section. But high cholesterol can also lead to serious cardiovascular problems like heart disease. Again, high cholesterol can lead to serious cardiovascular problems like heart attack or stroke. So what you need to do is get a thorough exam with basic blood work. And many local pharmacies are able to check your blood pressure with no appointment needed. Now, also, if you have Humana or I have the VA, they can send you a free blood pressure monitor. And I also have a free sugar monitor. Now, check your blood thoroughly. And you know what your blood is. Because if you have high blood pressure, you may have headaches. But check your blood pressure. And you know if your sugar is high. Now, men 20 and over should have their cholesterol checked every 3 to 5 years and then yearly after the age of 50. Now, every chance you get, an endocardiogram. Well, many deadly cardiac risk factors are caught with simple cholesterol testing and blood pressure monitoring, as well as weight management. Now, again, you have a lot of deadly risk factors, and they deal with cholesterol, blood pressure. So when you get simple cholesterol testing and you have weight management and, of course, blood pressure monitoring, you can catch some of these deadly risk factors like heart disease and stroke. But if there is a family history of cardiac disease, or if you already have known elevated cholesterol or blood pressure, endocardiograms or cardiac stress tests can ensure that there is not significant heart damage. Now, again, I'm telling you this, but some of these diseases, they're hereditary. And I know some doctors, they love to ask you what your family history is. And it's very important because you may have a family that has passed away young from cancer. You might not, but you might. So these are issues that you need to look at when you are dealing with your health. Liver enzyme test. Well, that's also a standard part of blood work, and it looks for any damage to the liver that can come from various sources. Again, going back to alcohol. Had an uncle that died from cirrhosis of the liver. Men, after all, drink more alcohol than women on average. So it is important for men to have these enzymes checked as they can run high due to over-the-counter medicines, alcohol consumption, inflammatory disorders, thyroid disorders, obesity, and some toxicities. And then there's the TISH test, the TSH test. The TSH test deals with your thyroid. And when you have a thyroid, what happens is what the thyroid does is it helps every cell in your body by releasing hormones that regulate metabolism. So any changes in the hormones it produces can impact a man's life and cause weight gain. You can also be lethargic, which means you could be slow, you could get exhaustion or fatigue. So what happens when you get lethargy and exhaustion and fatigue, you take a TISH test. Now, a TISH test is a blood test called a thyroid stimulating hormone test. And that can be done by your doctor to check your thyroid's function. Now, when they mention hormone, guys, they don't get menopause like women do, but they do have hormonal changes. Yes, men do have hormonal changes. Don't think we don't. Again, you see individuals in my age group who got guts, and they got guts also because of their lifestyle and their metabolism is slowing down. Because as you age, things start to slow down and they break down much quicker than they do when you're younger. So you need to catch that as soon as possible, because if you don't, it will be too late. And of course, we talk about the symptoms of thyroids. Well, many of the symptoms of an underactive or overactive thyroid, unfortunately, are symptoms that many men feel are part of life. But if testing shows abnormalities, they can usually be fixed through medication. Then lung screenings. Now, this is very important. Again, lung cancer is the most preventative of all cancers. 90% of the time, it is found in people who smoke. The rest are typically people with genetic predisposition to developing it, or people who have been exposed to secondhand smoke or caustic chemicals. Now, again, prevention is the key. Lung cancer is often an incidental finding on scans that are done for an alternate reason. Screening for lung cancer is controversial, as the well-accepted forms of scanning are high in radiation. Lung cancer experts are looking at low-dose CAT scans, which may be the future of lung cancer screening. So an annual chest x-ray is not recommended as a screening tool. So with everything being said, here are the 9 items men need to check. Starting with number 1, blood sugar. Number 2, check your skin. Number 3, your PSA test. Number 4, colonoscopy. Number 5, blood pressure and cholesterol check. Number 6, endocardiogram that deals with cholesterol. Number 7, your liver enzyme test. Well, again, that's part of testing your liver. If you don't get your liver tested, well, you can have an inflammatory disorder if you've been drinking. Cirrhosis of the liver. Cirrhosis of the liver. Again, cirrhosis of the liver. The TISH test, your thyroid stimulating hormone test. That's your thyroid test. That's number 8. Number 9, lung screenings. So overall, to put everything in perspective, very simple. Live a healthier lifestyle. So in between doctor visits, there are many ways that men, well, actually, anyone, but I'm just talking about men, they can prevent disease. Now, this is for the beginners out there. Number 1, exercise. Work out 3 to 4 times every week for 30 to 40 minutes. Include a mix of cardiovascular exercise and weight training. Number 2, eat a balanced diet. That's low in fat and includes a mix of vegetables, fruit, protein, fiber, lean meats, and complex carbohydrates. Now, again, getting back to carbohydrates, those are good carbohydrates, not your refined carbohydrates like your sugars. Remember that there are good carbohydrates. And also limit processed foods and added sugars. So you need to go and start cooking for yourselves and check out the labels for the ingredients. Anything that says OSC, fructose, or sucrose, that's sugar. So there may be some ingredient that says no sugar added. However, you got to read the ingredients. Even fat free may have something in it to make it taste good. Also, your exercise, hydrate yourself after you exercise. This goes back in the water. Stay hydrated by drinking an adequate amount of fluids, generally 64 ounces of water a day. Don't smoke. Again, 90% of lung cancer diagnoses are in people who smoke. Smoking also increases the risk of many other cancers and chronic diseases. Limit drinking. In other words, I'm going to tell you to avoid excessive alcohol consumptions and sleep. Eat about 7 hours per night of good sleep. So, again, what I'm telling you, men, is get yourself together and work on your health. Now, there are a number of men out there who call themselves red pill out there. Well, red pill is more than dealing with women. Red pill is about taking care of you. If you want to be somebody who is well functioning in society and you want to do a good job, want to stay healthy, take care of your body. You only have one of them. And if you follow everything that I mentioned to you during this video, it can save you. Now, if you don't, that's your choice. But again, I always believe that men, we have to start looking at ourselves, our health, our grooming. I mean, I'm 57 years old and I'm not even balding yet. Some individual men who are balding. Now, balding can be hereditary. Some men younger than I am who have receding hairlines. Again, when it comes to your health, it can be a heredity from family. But you should always take your health seriously. Again, women, no matter what situation they're in, they're going to go to the doctor. Number of us men, we don't go to the doctor. That's our Achilles heel. We need to go to the doctor. We need to go to the dentist. There's some men who have bad teeth out there. Now, I watched Kendra G's videos. Those women are delusional, but three things that they say are right. Hygiene, bad teeth, and being overweight. And sometimes, if you're sweating, it can produce a lot of body odor. Nobody wants to be around bad body odor. Also, something about drinking water too, and what you eat. Well, if you flush your system, you're not going to have bad breath. A lot of people who have bad breath out there because of what they're eating. I didn't mention that. Well, if you flush yourself out continuously, and if you are eating sugar and salt and you flush it out with water and you exercise, well, you're likely to also keep your salt and sugar down. And again, drink some apple cider vinegar. Bragg's apple cider vinegar. There's Fleischmann's and Dynamic Health, but the one that you can find in most stores is Bragg's apple cider vinegar. Now there's Bragg's apple cider vinegar with honey in it now, and there's also other brands out there like Heinz, but I prefer Bragg's apple cider vinegar. It's got the mother. The mother is the good bacteria. Like I said, I take 2 tablespoons a day of Bragg's apple cider vinegar. And again, what I say as a man, it's always best that you keep a healthy lifestyle. That way, you won't wake up lethargic. Everything's slow. Keep active. Because if you go out and people watch, and I people watch, go in a grocery store. Look how many people are riding those motorized carts around. They're riding motorized carts around because they're out of breath when they're walking, because they don't walk. You have a number of individuals who are lazy. They're eating out all the time. And also, I'm saving you money if you cook your own food because you control what you cook. And what I mean by controlling what you cook, you are the one who designs the ingredients to put in your food. So you know if you're putting too much or too little in there. And just because something says fat free, it doesn't mean that it's good either. Too many of us, we really don't look at the labels. We really don't pay attention to the chemicals that are being added to food. There are a lot of foods out there. It's like that chip contest I told you about. Well, some spices are good for you, but if you eat hot spices like that Carolina pepper, that can also give you a heart attack too, because it's heat going right to your heart because your heart's beating fast. You want your heart to beat, but you don't want your heart to overwork itself, because that is going to be cause for death as well. So again, as a man, take care of your hygiene, take care of your grooming, and take care of your health. You got one body, and do it for yourself. Don't do it for women, do it for yourself. Because you're the one who's in that body, not anybody else. Just remember, you got one life to live and you got one body. Take care of it because it is the only one that you got. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. And if you're looking for some educational and professional content, you check out my second channel, formerly the Minus STEM channel. It's known as the QCIS channel. On that channel, you get a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. And please, let's get the likes up on this video. Let's get the likes up and the subscriptions up on my other video. Cash apps are voluntary, okay? And for all of you who are receiving cash apps, make sure you acknowledge your cash app receipt to your donors. Some of you complain that you're not getting cash apps. Well, they're there, but you are not responding to them. Do it as soon as they send the cash app because money is tight. Now, if you can't find a QCIS channel, again, the QCIS channel, you get a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math, or the 401 Talk Zone radio show on YouTube. You can check those two channels out on Twitter. Now, for the QCIS channel, I'll take it one step further since it's a professional channel. You can also find the QCIS channel on my LinkedIn page. And at the end of the day, I'm going to leave you with this. Be blessed for what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have. Always know that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And of course, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if the shoe fits, wear it. If you don't like the shoe, change it. And once again, that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. I will try to have a live stream next week. Generally, they're at 7 o'clock. If I don't, I will do pre recorded content like this. You will know everything. Just check my community page on the 411 Talk Zone radio show channel. Until next time, my name is Leon Jones. I want you all to have a wonderful and gracious evening. God bless you. I'm out.